Are you getting ready for your first multicultural English class? It might be different from the English classes you've had before. You might be expecting grammar lessons, a textbook, a teacher explaining English. But you may be doing something much more uncomfortable, talking to people you don't know. And that's the point. You're not just there to study English. You're there to use it. Many English classes are communicative. That means you will probably work with a partner. You will work in groups. You will ask questions. You will answer questions. You will share your ideas and sometimes your experiences. And you will talk to people whose English isn't perfect. Neither is yours. That's okay. You're practicing together. Partner work isn't the break between the lessons. Sometimes that's where the learning happens. If you're shy, don't worry. Nobody will ask you to become an extrovert. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. Start small. Say hello. Learn someone's name. Answer a question. Ask one. Join in. You don't need perfect English to participate. Participation is how you get better at using English. And then, look around the room. This is one of my favorite parts of teaching ESL to adults. You may be sitting with people from all over the world. People who speak different languages. People who eat different food. Celebrate different holidays. Have different beliefs. Different families. Different stories. And now, you can talk to each other. That's a real opportunity. Different lives, different stories in one room. Don't waste that opportunity. Don't only talk to your teacher. And don't always sit with the people you already know. Meet somebody. Be interested. Ask questions. But don't just interview them. Share something about yourself too. Listen to their stories. Tell some of yours. English gives everybody in that room something in common before you even start. A reason to get started and a way to talk to each other. But when people come together from different places, we're going to bring our assumptions with us. Let me tell you a story. One of my learners was hosting a small talk activity in class. It was December. She asked a classmate, "What are you doing for Christmas?" The classmate said, "We don't celebrate Christmas." Oh. She tried again with somebody else. "And what are you doing for Christmas?" "Nothing." She got confused. It wasn't working. She wasn't being rude. She wasn't trying to make anyone uncomfortable. She was trying to make conversation. Christmas was simply so normal in her experience that she hadn't considered that it might not be part of somebody else's life. That's something worth noticing. Your normal isn't everyone's normal. And when something surprises you, try something I call patient curiosity. Pause. Instead of immediately thinking, "That's strange," try, "That's interesting." Your normal isn't their normal. Their normal isn't your normal. Give yourself a moment to be curious. You can even ask yourself, is this wrong? Or is it just different from what I'm used to? That little pause can change what happens next. And if a question doesn't work the way you expected, don't just keep asking it. Notice. Adjust. Try something else. Oh, what do you do? Do you have winter holidays? What are your winter holidays? Do people always talking about Christmas make you uncomfortable? Be curious and gentle. But wait, don't be so worried about asking the wrong question that you don't ask questions. Ask questions. Be curious. That's one of the best things you can bring into a multicultural classroom. But be curious gently. I once had a learner who was curious about a classmate's clothing, her hijab. It wasn't part of his culture, and he wanted to understand. But sometimes his questions sounded something like, "Why do you wear a hijab? Why can't we see your hair?" I'm sure he was being curious. I believe he just wanted to understand. But if you didn't know him, it might sound too rude, too challenging. Your intention and how your words sound aren't always the same thing. A little diplomacy can help here. Can I ask about your hijab? Would you mind if I asked about your hijab? Now you're still curious, but you're giving the other person a choice. You're giving them space to answer, or not. Be curious, gently. Notice boundaries. Pay attention to the answer, because sometimes somebody won't answer a question the way you expected. Maybe they give you a very short answer. Maybe they change the subject. Maybe they laugh and don't really answer at all. Maybe they answer a slightly different question. There may be a reason. Listen to the answer you didn't get. You don't always need to ask again. Respect boundaries. And that brings us to the next part. Respect the boundary. Maybe you asked, "Are you married?" And the other person said, "No." This is not the time to say, "Why not?" But don't you want to get married? Sometimes a short answer is enough. Sometimes no answer is enough. You don't have to understand somebody's boundary to respect it. Notice when no means no. You will make mistakes. That's okay. You don't know what you don't know. Now, after everything I just told you, I don't want you walking into a class terrified to speak. You're going to get something wrong. So am I. Most cultural mistakes aren't caused by bad intentions. Sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. You might misunderstand somebody. Someone might misunderstand you. You might ask an awkward question. Something might sound more direct than you intended. That's part of communicating with people. And remember that when somebody else gets something wrong too. Pause. Listen. Clarify. If you need to apologize, apologize. Learn something and keep talking. You do not need to understand every culture in the room before you talk to somebody. Be curious, be gentle, and be patient. When you first enter a multicultural classroom, you're probably going to notice differences. Of course you will. Different accents, different clothes, different beliefs, different experiences. Notice them. Be interested in them. But don't stop there. Because if you keep talking to people, you're going to start noticing something else. Maybe you both have children. Maybe you both miss home. Maybe you're both worried about finding work. Maybe you like the same music. Maybe you both hate getting up early. Maybe you're both nervous about speaking English. Maybe you just make each other laugh. The differences are interesting. But most of all, notice what's the same. Because the same is always the same. So here's my challenge for your class. It's tempting when you're nervous to sit with people from your country. It's tempting to speak your own language before and after class. Do what makes you comfortable. But meet one person. Learn their name. Ask them something. And share something about yourself too. Find one thing that's different, and find one thing you have in common. That's it. You don't need to learn about every culture in the room. Start with one person. Starting a new English class? Come ready to participate. Come ready to be curious. And come ready to meet new people. You might be surprised by how much you have in common. That's what living in English can look like. Thanks for spending this time with me. If this helped, subscribe and keep going. Have a question or suggestion? I'm always happy to hear from you. Connect with me in the comments. If you're not done yet, choose another lesson and keep going. I'm Jax. Learn, connect, live.